Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we will be discussing a topic that has been terrorizing us from undergrad period, that is statistics. If you like the content of my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it so that you get instant notifications whenever I post a video. Come on, let's get into the topic proper. So today I will be discussing on evaluation of a diagnostic test study or critical appraisal of a diagnostic test study. Almost every session of question paper has at least one question on statistics, and this is a direct question from latest December 2019 paper. Let's get into the topic proper. Start with the introduction. So, evaluation of a diagnostic test study. So, diagnostic test study, somebody has put out a paper discussing about a diagnostic test for a particular disease. You need these kind of papers because you need to know whether a patient is going to have X disease or not, and this patient might be having this disease for a long time and he might already have undergone tests, but this study is claiming that this is going to give results with more accuracy or more speed or whatever may be the reason. They have put out a paper. So, what do you gain from that paper? You need to know whether this test is as good as they are claiming it to be. That is where this critical appraisal comes in. You need to assess whether they have done the study properly to assess the diagnostic test, what are the results of that study, and whether it is applicable in your day-to-day practice. That is critical appraisal. So, the three major steps for you to assess is validity of the study, what are the results of the study, and applicability of that study or the diagnostic test. So, imagine there is a X disease, infectious disease, okay, and there is a gold standard culture. This particular study have come out with a new antibody based testing, let us assume. Okay, so what are the things you are going to assess to know if the test is valid or whether the study is valid, to be more appropriate? So, you need to see whether they have defined the properties clearly. Have they defined the test population? Have they defined what sort of test they are going to use? Have they defined what sort of setting they are going to be using this test in? And what is the outcome that they are expecting? These are questions that has to be answered very clearly and precisely. After that, see how the patient population is. This patient population should have a wide spectrum of patients with varying disease conditions, meaning there should be uncertainty in diagnosing the disease. This X disease has varied presentations, or there are many diseases that present very similar to X disease. That is uncertainty in diagnosing the disease. Make sure that population is including all of this spectrum. Next, see if they have established a reference standard, meaning culture, in this particular example. Whether they have clearly defined the test and the reference standard, how they are going to do, what temperature they are going to do, or what volume of blood or urine or whatever sample they are going to use. All of this should be defined properly. To put it very simply, it is the materials and methods that define this validity of a study, right? Next, have they done a blind comparison with a reference standard? Meaning, whoever is assessing the results of this diagnostic test and whoever is assessing the results of the reference standard, that is the culture, will be blinded to whichever patient is giving the specimen, and they will be blinded to the results of the other test, meaning the diagnostic test will not know what is happening in the reference and the reference will not know what is happening in the diagnostic test. That is blinding. Next, good study design to prevent verification bias. Verification bias is this. You need to do both the diagnostic test and reference standard for the whole population. Okay. If suppose say you are doing the your reference standard test only for those who are coming positive in this new diagnostic test, that will lead to verification bias, because you are leaving out a chunk of population. You are not testing those who come negative in this diagnostic test. So, how sure are you that this person is not going to have this X disease, right? This is verification bias. Next, you are supposed to validate in a second independent group of patients apart from the study population that you have taken. because study population, they may have a very similar characteristic and it may not be applicable to a different study population, or this study population that they have taken may have a bias that they may not have accounted for. Okay. So, if you test it in a second independent group and those second independent group of patients are also going to show good results for this particular diagnostic test, then you know it has got a good validity. Okay. So, as far as validity is concerned, whether they have defined the population, what sort of test and what sort of setting are they going to apply this test to this population and what is the result. And for population, see if they have taken a good amount of variation in population. Test wise, diagnostic should be defined clearly, your reference standard should be defined clearly, they should be blinding to both results, and there should be a good study design to avoid verification bias, and a second independent group of patients should be tested with. Next, coming to results of the study, see if they have given a likelihood ratio. I will be discussing this in the next lecture. Maybe I will post it tomorrow or day after. So, for now just remember they need to give likelihood ratio, because that is a better statistical tool compared to your positive predictive value, negative predictive value or sensitivity and specificity. Okay. So, of course they have to give all this, but apart from that, if a likelihood ratio is also presented, that is a good tool for you to get an idea of how good the result is, how good a result you are getting in this diagnostic test. Then pre-test and post-test probability. Pre-test is before doing the test, you will have an approximate idea of how many patients are going to turn out positive if you are going to do this test. Next, applicability. So, now you have the results, it is sounding very good. You can see that they have given a good materials and methods, proper methodology they have followed, and their results are very promising. But is it applicable to you in your setting? So, how do you know that? See the study population that they have taken. If their study population and your population is going to have many similarities, then the test is better applicable to you. And how available is the test to you? Is it near you? Is it affordable? Is it accessible by people? Is it easily available? Those are the things you need to assess. Then, how latest is the study? This is important. Sometimes what happens is, in the number of papers or number of studies that are coming out, we lose track of what is the latest study and what is not latest. Okay, so you need to know whether this is as latest as you are going to get. Next, you should have an approximate estimate of pre-test probability. Say you are not going to have X disease at all in your population, then what is the point of you having the diagnostic test in your center? It is not going to make sense, right? Next, effect of a post-test probability. Now, all of the above things are satisfied. This diagnostic test is cheap, easily available, affordable, accessible, patient population is also having this disease, and there is similarity with the study population, all of that are there. Even if everything is satisfied, will the patient be willing to undergo another test? And what will motivate a patient or you to prescribe another test or undergo another test? It is narrowing of the test treatment threshold. If you do this test and if it is going to turn out positive, then is that the end of testing for the patient? Are you going to jump to treatment after testing? That is test treatment threshold. If this test treatment threshold is going to be narrowed or completely stopped, meaning the patient is not going to require any more tests, then that will give a good post-test probability and you and the patient will be willing to undergo the test. So, this is how you evaluate any sort of diagnostic test study. We need to know whether the test is valid, the validity of the test is good. We need to know if the results are good and whether it is applicable in your setting. There are multiple automated tools to assess a diagnostic test. There are many online softwares that are available. With all of that and with your background knowledge of the disease, the existing tests available and this new test, you need to gauge whether this is going to be useful in your clinical setting. and this accuracy and precision assessment is needed so that you can have a judgment of whether you can apply it in your practical day-to-day clinical practice. So, for this question, if you write this much, I think this is enough. Thank you for your patient listening. If you have any more questions that you want me to discuss, please leave down a comment in the comment section. Thank you all.